Hey y'all, it is May the 3rd, 2020, 2024, and dang it, if we didn't make it right on time. Kind of proud of myself about that. I got everything squared away, and hopefully a pretty stellar broadcast in line for y'all tonight. All right, we got stuff written down, we got things organized. All right, we're gonna talk about some damn calamity tonight. All right, some of that malarkey. Shout out Joe Biden, wherever he's at and whatever he's doing right now. I'm sure he's sound asleep. All right, we got some stuff lined up today. A number of things to talk about already, and we're gonna see if there's anything else worth talking about tonight before we get up out of here. But like for example, all right, we're gonna talk a little bit about Nick Fuentes. For anybody out there who knows who Nick Fuentes is, I wanna dive into that a little bit because if you don't know who Nick Fuentes is, apparently there's big news today that he got permitted back upon the X feeds over there on X. I think it's a big development, of course. From what I understand, Maitre Mark is still not available on X, but I gotta holler at him about that. If there's any developments. All right. And there's a few things, that I want to talk about today in regards to Alex Jones. The Alex Jones show. Only today, just power packed full of different things. To be honest, that I want to share with you. I might share a thing or two with you. I can't share them all with you. And the only reason for that is because my computer is not reliable. It's not even a computer. I didn't realize that until after I bought it years ago. But it's not reliable, all right? So we're going to do the best we can with it. All right. There's definitely a couple of things that I want to talk to you about from the Alex Jones show today. Like for example, there's a man by the name Kirk Elliott. If you haven't heard of Kirk Elliott, he's another person who is providing the community with precious metals. Some people are looking into the precious metals. Currently, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But first things first, I want to play a little clip. I want to attempt to play a little clip. All right. We're going to see just how terrible my technology is right now, or maybe it's going to work a little bit. I want to play this clip because if I'm thinking about important things to say, what might be important to talk about today, I think this is pretty damn important. So let me see if I can try to play it. I'm going to see if I could try to play the clip real quick. All right, so bear with me. A lady by the name of Zoe Smith. A lady by the name of Zoe Smith was scheduled to be on the Alex Jones show today. She didn't. I don't think she made it on, but here's a video clip of her talking some trash. And mind you, it might take
massive. I didn't know it was possible for a human to die so horrifically and so quickly before they rolled out the mRNA injections. It was insane. I've never seen anything like that. The worst of them were the ones, they called it sepsis, but it was like instant multi-organ failure. Like within hours, patients would die of liver, lung, kidney.
I'm gonna let Zoe Smith continue, but shout out to my late uncle Robert, who I'm not sure if this is exactly what happened to him, but this is what was described happened to my uncle Robert. Like it was said that all his organs just all of a sudden stopped working. All of a sudden. All right, so let's let Zoe Smith go ahead and finish real quick. if we can.
All at once failure, respiratory failure. It was like some of the records that emergency crew that found them. It's like their body tried to reject everything, and some of these cases, like their family would be there 30 minutes before, and then within an hour they're dead. And then there were patients coming in with seizures like I've never seen before. We couldn't control some of them. Days patients would be seizing, and no medications would stop it. And eventually, they kind of had to be put down. They called it encephalitis or encephalopathy. And then later on, even the coding information organization, AHIMA, admitted COVID-19 associated encephalitis. There were blood clots, strokes. The clots were insane. Never seen clots like that before. Even the interventional radiologists that were going in with, they have angiopathies and, different scopes where they can do like heart interventions and put stents in like a carotid artery if you have a stroke going to your brain. Normally it's rare to have more than one stent go in. And they were documenting, multiple locations all at once. They had heart attack cases that were like that, where they needed massive amounts of stents that they never needed before. There were people in their 20s that had been hiking that were totally healthy, had been running marathons, that suddenly needed a leg amputated because they had a massive blood clot going from their hip all the way down to their leg, and it couldn't be saved. So that happened. There were some cases of overnight spinal gangrene, which I've never seen before. And you can't amputate, the spine when it goes gangrenous. Normally they cut out tissue that's dying like that, so it prevents further infection. And they didn't know what to do. The only thing they could do was, do basically replace that part of your spine with an implant. That's the best they could do. Yeah, it was really intense. And I didn't question the vaccines as much as I should have. I started to about the flu shot way back in 2004. But with the pressure to get the COVID-19 shot, I started looking into what it could do. And I knew I didn't want anything to do with this experimental mRNA thing. And when I started looking into the experts that were saying, well, this is what this potential vaccine could do, this is what the research says, I was looking at the vaccine trials and what was happening to those patients, and the Guillain-Barré that was happening, and the strokes that were happening. And so I kind of knew to look for that when the vaccine came out. And the doctors were, baffled. They weren't connecting the dots. But to me, knowing what the potential causes or potential symptoms of a vaccine injury could be, we 100% had all the things that I just described. But doctors would never tell you that. They would just say it's a stroke, it's a heart attack, it's a blood clot, and they would never connect the two.
Is there anything that would make you take a vaccination of any kind ever again?
They would have to kill me. Nothing would make me take it.
Oh, this happened. I'm gonna stop it right there. That was Zoe Smith. And mind you, she said they would have to kill her to put any of these magical potions up in her. But I do want to, unfortunately, just remind people they don't have to kill you necessarily. They just have to pin you down or get you incapacitated. And then they will pump you full of this stuff. Why? Because they're psychopaths and they know full well that you don't want that in your body. All right. So I'm sure it's happened before. It's going to happen again. People get pinned down. I'm sure. You're talking about psychopath. They didn't ask you. They're not going to, they might ask at first, but they're not going to keep asking. It's interesting. I played that video, I guess, for a couple of reasons. One, most of the people who come through and holler at me here on the internet, that's not no surprise to them. In fact, we've been hearing similar things to this for what, 2 years now? I lose track. At least 2 years now we've been hearing these stories. All right. And one reason to play that is it's not like a surprise to you, but it's kind of a reminder. Sometimes it might slip my mind. These people want you dead, right? They want you dead. They want all the people you know dead. And they've killed a lot of people you already know. People you're related to, they're dead. They died horrible ways. That's what they wanted. They want more of that, but they got to trick you into it, obviously. They can't really force it on you. Got to trick you into it. Want you dead in terrible, terrible ways. That's one of the reasons why to play the video. But another reason, this is all stuff we talked about. It's interesting to contemplate. We've been hearing these sort of stories for 2 years from like absolute cream of the crop professionals. And somehow to Donald Trump and to all the other whatevers, all the believers out there, they've never ever heard of it. They've never ever heard of these testimonials, although I do whatever it takes to not look at any of these testimonials. Is Donald Trump, and I don't know how much it matters. I'm not sure how much it matters in the scheme of things. This election coming up is already wild. It's wild regardless of this. But does Donald Trump actively, because he kind of has to, it's like, does he kind of have to, or are the people around him successfully hiding testimonial after testimonial after? We're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of testimonials. Hiding all those? You can't find any of those? What will it take to get, say, Donald Trump to acknowledge that side effects do exist and they happen sometimes? I don't know if it's a big deal, but it's kind of a big deal because people ain't like acknowledging reality. I don't know if I want to play it right now because it's kind of hard to play like videos. I'm gonna give it a shot real quick to share with y'all a little bit of this video clip, just a little bit of it because they're gonna go on for a while talking about the destruction of the economy. Humanity's waking up. We'll see if we can get our act together, but it's like complete denial of reality. We got a situation in which you, I, and several people we know are part of a huge, 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 huge group of people in which we all know these potions are a bad idea. We've known it for years. And then we only get confirmation as more and more days and days and days go, weeks go by, months go by, even years go by. And we're just only getting confirmation every single day. And nobody wants to admit it, right? And we know why. It's because they're scared. Is Donald Trump scared? I don't know. These are intense questions, right? But on another note, like the denial, we see them completely bold-faced denying reality. And at the same time, there's the reality of the economy. All right, let me see if I can play this video or just a little bit of a clip of this real quick. I don't know if
we're turn this around. So buckle up, folks. Buckle up and get ready now.
Buckle up.
The greatest crisis of all of our lives is happening now. And I'm just the watchman on the wall, the Paul Revere, telling you the New World Order's coming.
It's a little bit of it.
We got a little cattywampus there because I had this incredible whistleblower, Zoe Smith, who joined us as soon as she had internet outages, big problems. Hey, it's a miracle we talk to people anywhere in the world. So that happens sometimes. But then I wanted to continue the spaces out of not really a feeling before people continue to listen. I appreciate them holding the last 20 minutes while we fixed all that and figured out what was happening. It was really important information with Dr. Kirk Elliott as well there. So we're talking about civil war. They're defunded the police. They've got crime going everywhere. It's not just here, it's in Europe. The UN, the WF says they're going to use crises to bring this in. But the grassroots, it's really a real clash between Palestinians and Jews and right wingers. But at the top, it's being manipulated towards the larger end game. Who's up next?
All right, let's go straight into. Let's try Dave the Meme Smith again. Maybe Dave, you have a better connection this time.
Oh yeah, can you guys hear me?
All right, we lost it again.
Yeah, that's not.
All right, I gotta apologize. Actually, that was the wrong clip. All right, that's the wrong clip. That's not the clip with Kirk Elliott. No, just real quickly, as I mentioned before, and he's not the only one, but Kirk Elliott would say that regional banks are going to start to fail. Dominoes are going to start to fall, and in such a way that you know for sure, economy is effed, and I mean soon. All right, so he mentioned, hey, regional banks are going to start to fail. Guess what I see in the news now? Yeah, some regional banks over there in the Northeast starting to fail. I thought about showing this clip that I just almost showed you right now. And I wasn't sure if I was going to show you, but I already started to show you the clip. So let me show you some more of the clip, and then I'll tell you why it is I'm showing you the clip.
That's not him. When this stuff happens, it happens. They admitted, like I said earlier, the board is going out.
Okay, we're having technical.
So we're having technical difficulties. So that when I lose audio, we're not on air, but now we are. Go back to him.
All right, Dave.
Oh, it just did it again.
All right, you able to hear me?
Yeah, I see Dave is speaking, but we can't hear you yet. Hold on. There we go.
Yeah, he's live. We can't hear him. Let's just stop right here. We're going to probably just end the broadcast at this point. It's okay. We're going to spend some time. We're going to work on the equipment. We're going to find out what's going on. This happens. It's a complex system, simulcast on radio, TV, the internet. We're simulcasting on X right now. And, you know, the guests can't make it. We can't make it. People can't make it. This can't make it. The video can't get on the list. I get it. It's all right. We're going to get refocused. And don't worry, when the power goes off, it's martial law, nuclear war. You can just die and bleed out with your teeth falling out during the radiation. So that's going to be the good part. All right. I can promise you're going to really enjoy dying with your family. All right. All right, good. That's the best part of it. I'm being a little dark there because it's just the nature of all of this, and it gets extremely frustrating. How it rains, it pours. You know how these things work and how these things operate. Chase, we're going to go to break here in a minute. I'm going to decide whether we're going to end the show or not. Regardless, God knows who's hosting the fourth hour here. Let's just go ahead and take a look. We'll probably talk about the Hunter Biden laptop or something coming up. Jay Dyer actually won't be doing that. Jay Dyer will be talking about the New World Order, their actual documents, their battle plans, how they operate, how to stop them. He's an amazing guest host every Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. Central, and then Owen Schroyer comes up at 3 p.m. Central as well. Chase Gosler, how are you?
All right, I just wanted to show you that clip because, for example, if you don't listen to Alex Jones very often, you may or may not be familiar with the incidents. Sometimes Alex Jones loses it. I mean, just explodes, figuratively speaking, all over the place. And sometimes he'll just start talking mess right there, start talking crazy about you dying and your family, you and your family dying and losing your teeth and all this. He'll talk crazy talk sometimes, and it sounds like real nasty. It's some nasty talk, and I'm pretty sure he would say the same. In that particular incident, he kind of caught himself and was able to regroup without storming off, which sometimes he does have to storm off. And I wanted to focus on that particular moment because I see it happens from time to time. I don't know how often, but it kind of happens sort of often. in which Alex Jones will be, conducting a broadcast, and like one thing or two things or maybe three things goes wrong. And he looks like he just would love to just delete everybody in the room, right? And I wanted to talk about that because it's a thing, with Alex Jones, he's gotta do this sort of thing. He's got a tough job. And nobody does Alex Jones's job like Alex freaking Jones, and everybody knows that. It'll get y'all wound up. It'll get you real, real wound up, and there's been times in which Alex hasn't been able to control it. I, for one, don't blame him. I don't know if anybody out there might be blaming him for that. It's like this guy's in a hot seat. This guy is dealing with stuff that we could only dream about dealing with, as far as people after his ass, right? It's liable to get you flustered. It's an experience, like he's doing this in front of a camera so that people could see him and people could probably judge him. And what I want to say is, for sure, and I think most men would have to agree, unless they're like really, really trying to seem harmless, men, and I'm gonna assume women, they'll have these moments in their life when this kind of moment where something catches you the wrong way, or maybe two or three things. It catches you the wrong way at the wrong time, and then all of a sudden you have a urge to murder, a murder urge. You got your murder urge on your hands. You like if it was if it was morally normal and or legal and you could get away with it, you would murder someone in that moment or something in that moment because you're so not only outraged, but you're overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed and you're overtook. And sometimes you have this moment publicly. Lots of times, I would imagine most times, people have that moment privately. And the reason is because they know, typically most people would know how absurd or how manic it would look to just lose everything verbally and outwardly in public, and so people don't do it. However, it does happen. I want to point that out. That does happen. And it certainly happens to me, getting overwhelmed. I'll start using my mom's language, buddy. Especially if I'm by myself. And that's how it works, because you'd be embarrassed to really, really to just take it to that level. I see somebody in the building, but take it to that level. And so most often you just do it privately. Sometimes it does come out publicly. In which, in that moment, if you could strangle a person, you're not really concerned about which person. Maybe sometimes you are, but it's like if you could strangle a person, you would just strangle a person. All right. So, like, for example, I know full well what that feels like. I've had that feeling, I don't know, countless times. I can only thank God that, like, when that feeling has overwhelmed me, that, like, I've managed to either find some inanimate object or just say things, just maybe say something that's just outrageous, dude. Like, so if anybody heard me say whatever it is, They might be like, they might go, what the fuck? What the fuck's going through your mind? And he'd be like, what the hell? And then I would have to turn to them and say, I really don't even know why I said that. I don't know why I said that. It's overwhelming. And like I said, I would never blame Alex Jones. He's a general and he's dealing with a lot. He's dealing with a lot till the very end. He's got a lot on his shoulders, he's got a lot on his plate. But like I said, I know that feeling. And I can relate to that feeling. You know, some people might say, "Oh, that never, they never get worked up like that." Right? And they probably do, and they probably do very privately. Shoot, man, one thing that I wanted to bring up. Um, it's in the news, just real briefly. Like it's in the news in San Antonio, and I want to, before I bring it up, it's a touchy subject. You know, it's not like it's a very touchy subject I'm about to bring up. But it's in the news that there's a lady, and trust me, it's all sort of damn news going on in San Antonio. I'll never keep up. There's too much damn news. But this one lady, she had taken her son, maybe like 4-year-old son or something of that age, had taken him from daycare, or taken him from school, and drove him somewhere. This was a couple of weeks ago, 2, 3 weeks ago, maybe longer than that, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. And anyways, having a custody battle. Let me cut to the chase. Having a custody battle with her fella, right? With her ex fella. She decided to, and the news came out just earlier, to text the guy, go ahead and say goodbye to your son. And then from there, proceeded to take him to a ditch somewhere, shot their son to his demise, then shot herself. It's terrible. It's terrible, but like something must have just happened or something. It's like how do you explain that? You know, certainly you can't just explain it from afar, like what a stranger is thinking, but you can imagine that that person, uh, at least to some extent, had got overwhelmed. And so naturally, after the incident, you're gonna have everybody saying that this lady is a monster and an evil monster and a ghoul. And it's just human nature to talk trash about a stranger who did that to a kid and stuff like that. But at the same time, this lady is going to have people who know her and didn't ever think that this was going to happen. So that is to say, if she was a monster, she certainly was she wasn't a monster all the time, everywhere. You know, um, it got all worked up. And the thing is, I hear about it a lot. Um, I don't exactly go looking for it, but I do hear about parents deleting their children, men and women. All right. I don't even know. I mean, I would assume women do it more often, to be honest, from how much I hear about it. But men do it as well. Terrible, man. I saw a video of this one man. He had a son. I've seen it recently, and he had a son, a young boy. I don't know, maybe like 9 years old or something. And so he went to trial. I think he might have got found guilty. I'm not sure exactly, um, for the murder of his young son. And, I'm sure they went through the whole court case and everything, the evidence and all that. But I saw one video that was entered into evidence to prove that this guy likely murdered his son. And it was video surveillance this guy, and he was in like some gym, like an apartment type gym, or like a if you're in a hotel, like in a little type of small gym area. And Hugh, for some reason, was like um, he was going insane on his son, and like he wanted his son to just do everything really, really well, basically, or if not, it gets smacked around, I guess. He's throwing him on the treadmill. The little boy's falling off the treadmill, throwing him back on the treadmill. The treadmill's going too fast. He's like throwing the boy back on the treadmill. And one time the boy falls off the treadmill. He picks the boy up, grabs the boy, like bites him on the head, and like slams him down off the treadmill. And it's just insane. It's just insane. Now, of course, at the point of like, say you're gonna bite a child on the head. I mean, there's people to this day that disagree with me. I'm pretty sure that's demons coming up out of you. Those are demons biting children on the head. A demon will do that. A demon does not give a damn about doing that. And it's like the demon took over. The demon took over. Now you're overwhelmed. Now you're just like, now you're doing whatever. Like, you wouldn't do it if somebody was in the gym with you, by the way. You wouldn't be acting this way, but because you feel like you're alone with your child, oh, now y'all aren't alone. So the demon comes out. Um, this sort of thing, it's so wild. It's so animalistic that, I don't know that it could be avoided at all, anyways, you know? But that kind of overwhelmed feeling, I just wanted to discuss it. That feeling that you get, it's like your hands get all balled up, and in fact, your teeth, you do start biting down. You're like, "Ugh," like if there's something in your teeth, you would bite whatever. If something came close to your mouth, you would start biting it like an animal. All right, and demons are out there. I don't know if there's anything I can do to alleviate that. I'm just letting you know demons are out there. But one reason why I wanted to bring it up, all right, is I've been personally staying a little bit more active with it, I suppose you would say, especially today, especially over the past couple of days. And I do believe it's working. I do believe it's working. What am I talking about? Um, Something that I bring up from time to time. Um, There's something that I bring up from time to time called the silent prayer. I don't know if I've ever like convinced anybody to try it. It's interesting. Maybe I have. Maybe I have, but nobody's ever told me that I've convinced them to try the silent prayer. And I don't think I've very accurately described the silent prayer yet. Maybe I have, or maybe I haven't. All right, but just to describe it so that you get what the hell I'm talking about. It's not just mumbo jumbo right now. Silent prayer is something taught to me by Jesse Lee Peterson, in which it's good to get yourself in a position that's very comfortable. Say, like lying down, maybe seated up position, but lying down, comfortable, not moving any muscles or having anything like contracted or anything like that. You sit there. All right, that's not even necessary, but this it's good to do that. All right, you sit there, let's say, and you don't say anything. You don't try to say anything. The prayers that people say, they might recite some prayers, and that's like a prayer to God and something that they recited. It's not about that. It's not about reciting nothing. It's not about asking for things. Technically, it's not really about telling God, "Oh, thank you, God, for making my day good" or anything like that. Um, it's more so the act of just being silent and not doing anything and not actively trying to think. And I've talked to a lot of people, and I can't really put myself in their shoes, and vice versa. No, because I've talked to a lot of people who say that no matter what or whatever's going on, they cannot stop thinking. It just keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. Me, I can't really relate to that because technically I can stop thinking. Maybe not every single time that I try to do it. Maybe there's, once in every blue moon, I'll keep thinking about something, but I can stop thinking. But I can't tell anybody, hey, just stop thinking, right? Because a lot of people can't even comprehend that. They can't even contemplate that. So, in the event of not being able to stop thinking, what I understand you do then is you just go ahead and think whatever it is you're thinking. Just go ahead and think it and have those thoughts come out. And as they come out, you actively just watch the thoughts or listen to the thoughts. You're witnessing to the thought. There's some people who understand what I'm talking about when I say that. There's some people who won't understand what I'm talking about. It's kind of like how you watch a movie. When you're watching a movie, you're not necessarily like actively lip syncing all the words and stuff like that. It's not like that. You're witnessing it. The thoughts in your head are something that's just happening. It's not something that you're actively trying to like. You're not forming them inside your head. It's just like a movie. So you witness it for however long, right? And some people find that very, very hard, especially when you got regretful things coming to your mind and stuff, and sort of things. So the purpose behind um, the silent prayer is to kind of remind yourself, in a sense, like how peaceful your environment really is. It's not so chaotic. It's chaotic inside your head, but it's not chaotic out here. And it causes you to sit and contemplate perhaps things that you would just put off and not even contemplate, just keep putting them off in your head. And you're forced to kind of like sit there with it and accept them, accept that these thoughts happen, and it kind of calms you down, right? The prescription, for the most part, is day and night.
Power off.
It's meaning the first thing in the day that you do, or one of the first things that you do, is a silent prayer. The reason for that is because, throughout your day, you're liable to have these incidents, like I'm saying, in which where something will overwhelm you. All right, and if you're one of these people who just really you get overwhelmed and you get flustered and stuff like that, you can't think about anything else. Um, Doing the silent prayer in the morning kind of it gives you more control. When you're about to perhaps thinking about losing all control, you're kind of reminded that you've already had such a peaceful moment, even just that morning. You do the same thing at night before you go to bed. And the idea is that um, whatever's happened during the day, you kind of, I don't know, you kind of like decipher it with your mind and body, right? Kind of get it settled instead of having things on your mind or things that happened during the day that you didn't really uh, understand fully, or you didn't think about it. So there's the morning and the nighttime, but also you could do it during the day. And you don't necessarily have to lie down. It's just like a moment to yourself. Imagine like a moment to yourself. You feel like you're getting overwhelmed. Instead, you just kind of space out and have a silent prayer. People might think that you look dumb or weird that you're doing that. Um, it's not to alleviate the demons or get the demons out of you, but it's to remind oneself that these urges, these sudden, instantaneous, irrational ways of being that come upon us, we don't have to react so poorly. We don't have to be so out of control if we preemptively prepare for that, i.e., the silent prayer, or however else you would do it. And I gotta say, it's working for me right now. And we're in the end of days. So I like it. I like it. I mean, Lord knows I had to how to make money or get funds and stuff like that. Lord knows I don't do enough of that right now. But the silent prayer and the keeping of cool, to me, makes a world of difference. A world of difference. There's people in my spot. There's people with similar lives to me, and there's people who got all sort of money that I'll never see, and they got all sort of respect and all sort of this and that going on. Who they are like miserable, are like filled with demons. Some just can't control. Sometimes their temper, and they can't control it. And then they try to control, they try to conceal it, they try to hide it from people. But I don't know. It's just my theory, but you hide it, you continue to hide it, and you keep letting these demonic forces overwhelm you to the point is now you're like just ready to pop. Your veins are all coming out and stuff like that. If you're doing that in private enough, and you keep doing that, you're gonna do it in public, and you're gonna do it all over somebody, all right? And it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. So, gosh, man, all right, gosh, we've been here. Oh my gosh, we've been here a long time. See, these broadcasts are fun, right? Because as I've mentioned before, I don't really have the opportunity to say talk to somebody for an hour like in real life about how effed up today is, or just like what's really really interesting. It's an outlet, it's a vent. It's a place to vent, and I appreciate it. Um, but like also, I know it sounds funny, but I intend to get better at it. Right? I mean, like there's certain things in which these broadcasts are lacking. Number one, I'm like super close to the camera. I don't know that. I should be way back here or something, but I need to get a microphone set up and stuff, man. I need to get to where it's like the format, get it down smoothly to where I feel satisfied with it. Trust me, man, like Alex Jones, and he's bursting from the seams, and he's ready to choke somebody out, and he's ready to eat his own neighbors and stuff like that. I can tell you, I'm trying to pull off like a mediocre thing of me talking, with several subjects, and it's hard to get it down right until you've practiced and until you really like done it over and over and over again. It's really hard to get it down right. Like, for example, we're 45 minutes in, basically the end of the broadcast. And there was this one story that I was going to mention, didn't even bring it up. Yesterday, I was going to talk about it, didn't even bring it up, right? And it's not that I'm meaning to mess up like that. I'm not. It's just that I got to get better at what I'm doing. And that's why this practice is necessary. That's why doing it every single day is necessary, even if I don't really have nothing to talk about, right? It's important to get the practice in. Um, Earlier, I was practicing with the nunchukus. All right, shout out to El Nino. Important to get that practice in with the nunchukus because they're not going to practice themselves, and you're not going to get good and deadly with the nunchukus unless you practice. That's the whole point. You got to practice like every freaking day. All right. So one thing that I meant to talk to y'all about, never did talk to y'all about it this whole entire night, was Fiesta. God, this story. I want to tell y'all we'll talk about it in greater detail tomorrow, but that's like a promise that I don't know if I'll keep. But we'll do our best with it tonight. As I mentioned before, for the people who know, or for the people who I've mentioned this to, it's called Fiesta. Fiesta means party. That's all it means. And it's like official. It's every spring, almost every spring for many years. The city of San Antonio or some groups and whatever, they're raising scholarships, apparently, scholarship funds. And they have this thing called Fiesta, which is like a number of different events which span over like 2 different weekends. As I've explained long, long ago, it's been many years since I've been to a Fiesta. And mind you, when I went to Fiesta those couple of times, 2 or 3 times, I enjoyed it. I had a great time those many years ago, but um, it's many years ago. And the thing is, um, stopped going. Uh, I have no desire to go. I haven't wanted to go for a long, long time. And my reasoning behind it was everything costs $1 million, $1 billion, and it's like I, I have a very hard time spending my money, which is honestly to a fault. To a fault, it gets me into trouble not wanting to spend money, but yeah, man, that's why I don't want to go because no matter what, whether it's parking or everything else, you want to buy a beer, oh, it's $20. Oh, you want to like a hot dog, oh, it's $20. You want a chicken on a stick, oh, it's $20. It's got a jalapeno on the stick at the end of the chicken, oh man, that's $20. It's like, dude, and I know I'm exaggerating, but not by much. All right, it's like God bless all the kids getting their scholarships and stuff like that, but there's no way I could spend money like this and have fun at the same time. Anyways, a long time ago, I stopped going. But there's some incidents that arose during this fiesta that had people concerned. Like, for example, last year during fiesta, I was actually in the hospital. All right. I didn't even want to bring it up all the time, but I really was in the hospital. And last year's fiesta happened, there was a person who got shot. And it was funny to me, and I didn't have no pity for the guy. But I was like saying, "Well, there you go, yeah, there you go, Fiesta." Now people getting sometimes shot. Altercations are not like a new thing at Fiesta or possible altercations. So somebody got shot last year at Fiesta. Okay, 2 people died this year, as we covered before. 2 people died. during a gunfight over a Fiesta. We still don't know all the details, but 2 people died. Um, and one of those people happened to be a serial car thief. The other one, he might have very well been a criminal as well. Actually, I want to say that I heard reports that he didn't have no criminal record, Albert Cisneros. So I don't know what that means necessarily. He may or may not have been a good guy, but it's not really for us to determine at this point. He is deleted, him and Mikey Valdez. It's unfortunate. But as I mentioned before, I was on Reddit, and gosh, man, I'm still torn about Reddit. I mean, Reddit is really, really a nightmare and a dream at the same time if you go on Reddit. All right, you find out man information, and you inevitably see some stuff that you just never wanted to see in your life, as far as people saying things and people saying things. Oh God, people just be saying things. You get the best and the worst, the very best and the very worst from Reddit. I promise you. But on Reddit, somebody had told me that there had been a lot of gunplay at Fiesta, and the news is kind of like playing it down. They say, the news is kind of like trying to slide this under the rug, but there's been a lot of gunplay. Not just that incident where the 2 fellas died, but for different occasions, man. There's been people with guns over at the Fiesta. I don't know if that sounds like a very good time to you. To go to a place where where many multiple people have secret guns, because they're gonna have to be secret at the Fiesta. All right, so this news item right here that I wanted to share with you real quick. It's actually a pretty short news article, and so that's why I can share with you real quick. But the headline reads, "Man arrested with a semi-automatic rifle at Market Square 1 hour before deadly shooting." All right, so let's go without me just describing it to you. I'll go ahead and I'll read it for you. It's not too long. It says, days before 2 incidents, another man was found with a revolver after shot heard in the Market Square crowd. And this is where it's like a kind of funny story. Maybe more details will come out, but I bet you details will never ever come out. So the story of the magic knocker and the bag of cocaine will probably stand as Fiesta folklore. All right, from here on out. I don't think an investigation is going to be done necessarily, but I want to tell you about it. A deadly shooting that occurred in Market Square during a Fiesta event Sunday was one of multiple incidents where police found firearms in the crowded plaza, according to records obtained by KSAT. At least 2 other men are facing firearms charges after being arrested at Market Square during the annual celebration, including one that happened about an hour before the shooting. Right, the shooting that left 2 men dead, where the police had to pop off. An hour before that, a man with a semi-automatic rifle, and according to the news, it's a 223 semi-automatic rifle. So, perhaps it was like small, I guess, small and concealable. This guy's walking around with the semi-automatic rifle at Fiesta. I don't know. I don't even know if he knew Mikey Valdez. Like, this is probably totally unrelated. So in that instance, 18-year-old Joshua Hernandez was arrested on a charge of unlawful carry of a weapon before 11 p.m. at Market Square during Fiesta de los Reyes, a police report shows. Hernandez was found in possession of a 223 semi-automatic rifle, sources told KSAT. Police were tipped off by a witness who said they saw Hernandez with his hand on the firearm. The report says officers detained him without incident and located the weapon. The report said, and thank God, that's a touchy situation. This guy has a semi-automatic rifle at Fiesta. They were able to, get it without incident. Right, and then of course there was the shooting, which I was where the two men tried to shoot each other up. They died. But the article, it goes on to say that several days before the deadly shooting and the separate arrest of Hernandez, police officers working at the same location heard a gunshot near a music stage under Interstate 35, according to the SAPD incident report obtained by KSAT. Now, the reason that it's like a magical knocker is something I want to explain, and perhaps they got it wrong, or like perhaps they don't know what the hell they're doing at the news place where they're typing this up. But it's very interesting how they worded this. I find it very interesting how they worded this. And at the same time, seem kind of sure of themselves at the same time. I'll show you what I mean. 2 officers detained 18-year-old Jeremy Aiden Lara after observing him reaching into his waistband as he walked away from the stage. So it's interesting. You're at a fiesta. You're hearing a gunshot. The police are looking around. They see Jeremy Aiden Lara, and they see him, he's grabbing for his waistband. And so, it's reason to believe that he has a gun in his waistband. People don't just be grabbing for their waistband like that. So, they went ahead and they got him, right? The article continues. It says, a revolver and a plastic bag that was allegedly containing cocaine were taken out of Lara's pocket. I found this very peculiar. To think about, right? Because, for example, like let's say you're at Fiesta, and you have a bag of cocaine at Fiesta. You know what you came there to do. It struck me as odd because anyone's thinking at all clearly, even someone on cocaine would know, I don't want to shoot my gun off right here in public because we're at Fiesta and I also have cocaine in my pocket. Like, why exactly am I going to draw attention to myself while I got this cocaine in my pocket? So that struck me as odd, right? The next line of this article is even more odd. Even more odd than that. The next line of this article says that 2 women came to the police and they reported being hit by a bullet. The report says. Now, mind you, I know you're just like repeating what you've been told, and like technically that's your job. But how is it that I'm the only person? I'm sitting here all by myself asking, what the fuck do you mean you were hit by a bullet? What does that mean? You got hit? Did you get shot by a bullet? Like, do you got a bullet wound? Did the bullet hit you and now you're shot? Or even just grazed you and now did you get shot? What do you mean? Because the word says hit by a bullet. That's what it says in the article. And I'm on the only one. It's like, why even mention that these two ladies, and the thing is, there's two ladies? Are you telling me that two ladies got hit by a bullet? What the fuck does that mean? But and so that's why that's part of the reason why I'm calling it a magic knocker, because it just like hit you with bullets. It didn't shoot you with bullets. You just got hit, and two of y'all got hit. And meanwhile, I know that if you got shot with a bullet, the news would quite clearly say you were shot. They wouldn't mince words or anything like that. Since you weren't shot, that's why it says you were hit by a bullet. The reports say you were hit by a bullet, and that shit don't even make sense. All right? But okay, if that's not just weird already, it's all very weird already. Check this out. It gets even weirder. Is that the next line in the article? It isn't clear if Lara was the one who fired a shot because police found 6 live rounds with no spent casings in his revolver. Now, I don't want to say definitively, but I'm pretty sure the theory I had earlier where Jeremy a bullet, he didn't shoot anything. They saw him like touching the gun in his waistband. Certainly, he had a gun, and I guess probably shouldn't have had it. Definitely shouldn't have had it with cocaine at the same time. That's a big no-no. So I was assuming in my head, Jeremy's not the one that shot that shot. Like I said, why would he bring attention to himself like that? And then you run up on him quick, fast, in a hurry, and he doesn't have any spent shell casings. The gun itself has evidence of him not shooting the gun. And so, I mean, I just point that out to say, like, these people they're putting the facts, but they don't realize the facts that they're putting are fucking retarded. Either that or they just don't care. They're phoning it in, and it does not matter at all. This is a magic gun that reportedly hit 2 ladies with bullets, whatever the fuck that means, and replenished itself all without a sign. And so when the police came, they were just like, "What? What the hell? You got all the bullets still? How'd you pull that off?" I'll let you know how you pulled it off. Somebody else shot some other gun. There's probably multiple people at the fiesta with guns. All right, so we're over the time limit right now. Right, gotta pack it in and gotta wind it down for tonight. And I thank everybody for coming out. But as I mentioned before, I wasn't like telling the future, oh, I'm some psychic. It's actually just like really kind of obvious. And they've already got news items about it. The next fiesta, so-called fiesta that San Antonio is going to have, everybody's getting checked for weapons. The supposed fiesta that they're going to have, everybody's got to get checked for weapons. Why? Because y'all are fixing to shoot each other up. Y'all come to the fiesta to shoot each other up. All right, I got to get up out of here, but I'm kind of being like facetious or like I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit. As we get up out of here, fiesta, just like state fairs and carnivals and all sort of events taking place, especially in certain cities. it's lost all its spirit. Whatever spirit that it had at one point is gone, buddy. Let me explain. Without having to go to any of these fiestas, the spirit of spending all your freaking money and knowing full well you're going to spend all your money perhaps spending on a credit card because you're spending so much money. That's the spirit of fiesta now. And you could be spending all this money just because you desperately want to have fun and you desperately want to like people around you to think you're cool and stuff. So you go to fiesta and you try to have a whole bunch of fun. You spend all this money for one. A lot of the younger folks cannot afford to come out, or two, but a lot of the younger folks, a lot of them who come out to fiesta, they're gonna come out with secret weapons, just like they did this year, and they're gonna get all turned up and lit, and they're gonna probably want to shoot each other up, all right? Because ain't no love out there in the streets. And that's why they go to these young people who go to Fiesta. Oh, they're all mixing in with the older crowd, and it's supposed to be for all ages, just and enjoying themselves. These young people going to Fiesta, they're going to show out. They're going to spend like maybe whatever money that they don't have or their peers don't have. They're going to spend all this money and they're going to show out. And they're going to bring weapons with them and they're going to act all crazy. And this is the climate that we're in now. All right. If that wasn't the case, then kids weren't. Then this young crowd's not even going to show up. Period. If you expect for all the young crowd who's going to come with secret weapons to not go over there and try and show out, then you might as well ban all the whole young crowd. I mean, what are you going to do exactly to make sure that people don't have any weapons? When it's pretty easy to find back ways and this and that in order to get into Fiesta. People are gonna find, regardless of like how much weapons checks that you have, at least one person, probably multiple people, are gonna figure out ways to sneak in secret weapons at Fiesta, and it's not worth going to. Long story short, it's not worth going to. And people, they don't want to acknowledge that reality, but I already told them, you already had your last fiesta, all right? You're slipping and tripping. Think you're going to have another fiesta. You ain't even going to have another Christmas. So anyways, I'll holler at y'all tomorrow with some more stuff. Tomorrow about World War III. I'll holler.